Here are the items that you will need. Also, whenever I do this at home, I kind of just makeshift, even though I have access to all this stuff. So a glass little beaker, I literally just finally brought an extra one at home. Before I was just kind of using like a tiny little cup or bowl at home. So little tiny glass lid from your jars, whatever. Then a little tiny brush to mix it. I am biased and love Berry Well. This, however, I'm pretty sure is not available in the States. This is a Canadian brand. The American tint that I prefer is called Intensive. So I'm using Developer, the tint, a little brush, and a little glass beaker to mix it. I don't recommend Reflecto Seal, but this is the only thing that I do like of their product is the tint remover. Once I apply this, I will go into why I love Berry Well and why I do not prefer Reflecto Seal. Also, I am not very well educated on, actually, I'm not educated at all on the men's beard dye. I've never done that. I've seen horror videos of it not going well. So, and also I know that I'm grateful and have access to the professional stuff. Okay, this is all that I mix. It's just a tiny bit, equal parts of each, and then go in. I mix it by kind of doing like a smashing method, but just mix it, right? Like you go evenly mix it to where you know that it's all evenly coated. Then I go in, make sure your other hair's not in there. And then I go in and I just apply it. If you watch my videos already, you'll know that anything that you're doing to your brows should always be subtle and not drastic. When you do subtle things to your brows, they will already be drastic because brows make a huge impact on your face, good and bad. So if you want it to be good impact, you're doing subtle changes, right? That are very natural to your brow. If you were blonde and you really only want to get the peach fuzz and things, leave this area alone. All of us, most of us, unless there's damage, this is the heaviest part of your brow, the most dense part of your brow, which also has the most pigment because it has more dense hairs. So what you want to do is literally, this is what I do to my blondes, because I just want to get the hairs that you can't see as well darker to make it even in color to match that. So I'll do the centers, I'll do the top parts up here where it doesn't show as much, and then the tails. So I'll leave that area alone. And then sometimes I'll come right under here because a lot are not lacking, but just it's not as dense, therefore it's not as dense as in color, okay? It looks like a mess. I am not a brow artist that cleans it up tightly because this tint doesn't stain the skin. I don't want the tint to stain the skin too. That's kind of up for debate for other people. So, I mean, I really kind of do make it messy because also, what if I clean up and there's some peach fuzz that I cleaned up in the tint? So I want to see all the hairs. I want to see all the hairs, like what do I have to work with in tinting everything around. So I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. If you do want to clean it up, like this doesn't bother me. I know it looks weird, but if you do want to clean it up, just grab a Q-tip, but just make sure that you're not getting into your brow. This is going to set for 12 to 15 minutes. Probably number one, when you're going to tint your brows, do not do it when you have self-tanner on. You want to wash it off at least once, preferably twice. So if I put self-tanner on this morning, I want to wash my face tonight with it, and then I want to wash it again in the morning before you tint your brows. It will stain your skin and it will come across as like green or orange or just a brown undertone, depending on the undertone of your self-tanner. It will look like this. It will look so bad. It doesn't matter if I put the tint on my brows for half a second, it sucks up and absorbs and it instantly stains your skin for a good long time. The reason why I don't care for Reflecto Seal, and I feel like every salon uses it, it stains the skin pretty fast. Also, whenever you use a light brown color, I find that it continues to still get too dark or darker the longer you leave it on. Know that if they have light brows, they're invisible, you can't see them. And I use light brown in Very Well. I can still leave it on 12 to 15 minutes of that full processing time and it will not go too dark. That is not the case with Reflecto-Seal. With Reflecto-Seal and the Beard Men's Dye, the longer you leave it on, the darker the grade goes, even though they're different colors with it. Yes, there will be a time where it caps out and that's as dark as it gets. It's still too dark for what I find my true blondies for there. The other thing is I want it to fully process. Imagine your hair follicle like a roll of paper towels. And whenever you are using Reflecto-Seal or those other products out there, and you're not going to let the tint set for the correct time that it needs, it's like, imagine that paper towel. In order for you to get a full, long lasting result, that full paper towel needs to be completely drenched, soaking wet with this product, with this dye. So whenever you have Reflecto-Seal and you're only tinting your brows for like 3 minutes, not that whole follicle gets throughout dyed. With Very Well, I'm leaving it on for 12 minutes, so it is slowly processing that entire follicle and lasting longer, and it's not staining my skin and I'm gonna look whack. Using the Men's Beard Dye and or Reflecto-Seal because that's what you can access to, because that's what's available on Amazon. Just know that you need to probably check on it at like minute 2, at minute 3, and probably remove around minute 3, minute 5. I'm only aware of what Reflecto-Seal does and from what I've seen on Men's Beard Dye. If you can leave on Men's Beard Dye for a long time, for whatever that processing time is that they recommend, and it's not too dark and it doesn't stain your skin, great. So I find that people are overfilling their brows in when simply they just need a tint. It's super cheap. Like, we charge 25 bucks. So once every 4 to 6 weeks to get that done, and then your results that you hardly need any makeup, it's pretty cool, and I think worth it. It's the best low maintenance thing you can do for your brows. Using a beard dye or just like a hair in general dye and or Reflecto-Seal, all you gotta do is take a look, just be like, how's it processing? Is it staining my skin? Remove it. You should still see your skin. Is it too dark? Just check it, and if it's good to go, just do it again. If it's something where you don't really know, remove it just to be safe, and then you can always reapply it if it's not dark enough to what you want or didn't get those hairs to evenly match the dense area. So this is just a cotton round with water, and you can see that it's still not too dark. It matches. I mean, I can go really dark and it wouldn't be too dark because my brows are not super thick, they're not super dense, and my hair's not light. So I can go really dark and it still wouldn't be too intense and too much. And there we have it. You can see it's not drastic, but it's very subtle, which does make a big difference. All of that hair on the top, I used to have to overfill in with pencil because you couldn't see all of those hairs on the top. I use the clear pomade instead of the brown pomade. So back comb those hairs in an upward position so you get through all of those layers of hairs. And I want them to kind of just go up, and then I'm gonna use a dry spoolie brush to just set them. And there we go. I know that was a long one, but I hope that answered all your questions if you want to start tinting your brows yourself and the good impact that it has on your brows.